Hello, my crafty friends. It's Erica here from Me to You Paper Crafts, and this is another Fun Fold Friday. And sorry to say, it is the last one I'm doing for the year 2020. I will be back in January to continue my Fun Fold Fridays, since a lot of you have requested that to keep going. I will more than likely be repeating some of the Fun Folds I've done over the past year, but bringing in new products and new designer series papers just to freshen things up. And for a lot of you who have never done that Fun Fold, then it will be brand new to you. So today I'm showing you a very cute Fun Fold. It's called a double Z fold, simply because when you open it up, you have a Z fold in the center. I don't know why it's called double. Kind of looks like a single Z to me, but maybe it's because it goes like that. That to me looks like a single Z, so I don't know why it's called a double Z fold, but that's what I found on the internet, and that's what most people call it. And the stamp set that I used for this is called Freezin Fun. Now, this Fun Fold was introduced to me by one of my team members during last month's team meeting. I often ask my members to contribute to doing a make and take, and this is the one that she showed us, and it's a very cute card simply because I'm using this stamp set called Freezin Fun, which is now on our retired list. So if you like seeing this stamp set in this project, then I would suggest you head on over to my store and you pick it up now. And it comes with a set of dies where you can cut out all of the little creatures in here, as well as some other elements. And I absolutely love this double stitched edge for creating some hills. So you could use this in any of your kind of winter scene projects. So I've already put out my stamps that I'm going to be using. I'm going to actually use this adorable little seal for this one versus the little penguin for this one. Okay, now there will be an associated blog post with this with all of the measurements, so you don't have to worry about writing anything down right now. As a matter of fact, to speed up the video, I often do not give measurements. But if you want to make the card, then just head on over to my blog. There will be a link below in the description. So I'm starting out with a half a sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. So it ends up being 4 1/4 by 11. Okay, and then I've got a white whisper white piece for the inside of the card. And then this is what creates the Z fold on the front of the card, with some DSP that we're going to put on top of that, as well as a greeting on the end. So these are all the pieces that I've got cut for that. And then we have this DSP for the front panel. Now, I will admit this is last year's DSP. It was from a snowman bundle. And I'm still using up some of those papers because I encourage people to use up what they have. So we're going to get started with this. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to set aside all these pieces, and the first thing I want you to do is to score your card base. So I'm going to pull out my scoreboard here, as well as my stylus, and I'm going to pull out some wax paper. I always like to use wax paper before I score. This just helps my stylus to glide a little bit more easily over the cardstock. So just give a little bit of a rub with your wax paper. All right, so the first score, I just have to refer to my notes here because I can never remember. I didn't actually make this other card today, so it was about a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to score this at 2 3/4. So 2 3/4, and then we're going to score it at 5 1/2. Okay, that's half of your 11 inches. All right, so that creates your card base. Okay. So let me get out my bone folder and give my score lines a bit of a burnish. Okay, and let's pull out the original. So there's your half mark here, and then you are going to fold over the front piece. So it's going to look like this. This is going to fold over like that, okay? Just make sure your edges are nicely lined up here before you burnish that fold. Okay, so there's the start of your card. All right. Now, I didn't write down the measurements for scoring this piece. I'm pretty sure this is scored, yes, at 5.5. And let me just double check here. This other piece is scored at 8.25. Okay, so we're going to take this long piece and we'll bring back the scoreboard. And we're going to score this piece at 5.5 and 8.25. Okay. So this piece will fold back, and then this piece will fold forward. This is creating the Z. Okay, in that piece. All right, so very simple card to decorate. I've already, you know, as I showed earlier, I've cut out my pieces. So I just need to glue my pieces on here. I'll do this one first. Now this one seems to, maybe I cut this too long. It fits perfectly. So I could leave it like that, but I think I'm going to cut it just a tad shorter so I have a bit of a border on there. So I will adjust my measurements if I need to. Let's just take this down a little bit. I think I cut that crooked. I did too, so let's just redo that. There we go. Yeah, that looks okay. And I want to pull out my silicone mat. Whenever I'm using adhesives, I love to use my silicone mat. Whoops, wrong side. I want to show the snowflakes on this side. So we'll glue this down here like this. And let me just get out my glue eraser, and I'm going to erase off that glue. A glue eraser is an essential craft tool, and unfortunately we do not sell it anymore, but you can pick it up at a dollar store. Whoops, didn't get all of that off. There we go. Okay, and then I have another little piece here that I'm going to glue on. There we go. Now this is for a greeting. So I have this tiny piece. Now normally I stamp my greetings and then I cut them out, but I'm going to see how I make out. So the greeting I've chosen from this set, this one says, "Life's better when we're having fun together." I think that's kind of a cute little greeting. And let's hope I put that on there straight. There we go. Oh, good job, Erica. It's always a celebration when you stamp straight. Let's glue this piece on now. All right, so there is our Z-fold band done. Now the front of the card, I've got this lovely striping here, so I'm going to glue this onto the front of the card, and then we're going to build up our focal image here with that cute little seal. So let's lay this down like so. Okay. And for the inside of the card, again, I always stamp before I, glue it, just in case you make a mistake. Because the wonderful thing about our Whisper White is that if you stamp and make a mistake, you can always flip the cardstock over and start again. So I'm going to pull down my, this is Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to do some snowflakes on here. This one I just put a couple of snowflakes in each corner, but I think I'll do a flurry, maybe right across the top. Let's rotate the stamp to get something a little bit different here. There we go. Okay, and I'm not doing anything else for the inside, so I can go ahead and glue this to the inside of the card. There we go. Okay, now before I glue this piece on, I do want to build up my so let's pull out some scrap white, and I'm going to use basic black, I think, to stamp the other images that I want. So this is a little slab of ice, and we're going to die cut these. So I'm going to stamp them, color them, and then die cut them out. Okay, this little seal, he's just so adorable. Okay, so let's cover up the ink pad. I'll put my stylus away, don't need that anymore. Try and keep a tidy craft space here. All right, so let's give this some color. Now I'm going to take out some, we have Pool Party makes a really great ice color. So I'm going to start with the light and just color over this piece of ice here. And I'm going to pull in the dark Pool Party because I know that the ice will be darker on the sides. I'm just going to add a bit of shading in there. And then it'll come on the inside here, like so, just to give it a bit of texture. Okay, now our little seal, I'm going to make him a little gray seal. So I'm going to start with light, and then I'll bring in the dark and add some texture where those little polka dots are on his body and in his flippers here. These little creatures are very cute. Making cards is a great craft activity for you and your children. It gives you some family time, and we have a lot of stamp sets that kids would love to color, and they could do all the coloring for you. Let me pull down the dark. So Stampin' Up! Makes it easy. All images have either little lines or little polka dots like this where you add the darker color, and then it gives you a bit of shading. You might want to add some more of your own shading in there. Okay. And then I often come back in with the light color just to blend it out a little bit, so it's not such a harsh line. That's what I love about alcohol markers, is they allow you to do some really great shading. Now I'm going to stick the dark, see if I can get his nose dark. And I'm going to use the brush tip because it's got a point on it. There we go. Okay, now what color hat should we do? Well, we've got some red in our DSP, so how about let's do a red little hat here. It's always nice to color coordinate, and if you start off with some designer series paper, then the colors are kind of chosen for you. So you don't have to struggle with, well, what color should I put with what? And again, I'll bring in the dark and add a bit of shading in here. There we go. Isn't he the cutest thing? So I'm going to take out the dies now for this. So we need the little ice piece. Now, when I get my stamp sets and my dies, the first thing I do is I take this sheet out. It's on a piece of cardboard. I take this out, I stick it in my printer, my scanner, and I make a copy of the dies, and I glue it onto the back of this so that I always know what dies are in this set, and I can see them through the pocket. I don't have to open it to check out what dies there are in the package. And I can also tell, of course, if I put it back in the same spot, because I kind of use it as a little template there. Okay, so this is the little ice piece here, and then this is the little seal, I believe. Yes, this is the little seal. Okay, not sure if I'm going to use the snow here. I don't think we need it. So this is the little seal. So he's going to go on like that, and then the little ice. So I will go over to my big shot, and then I will be back. So there we have our two pieces here. And now we can start building up the front. Now I think this has to go onto another piece of cardstock, so I might cut out or use a punch. Might just use my largest circle punch here. It's 2 1/4 inches, and I think I will punch out a piece of Whisper White cardstock here. Let's give that a punch out. Okay, so this is going to come up here, and then we're going to build up these little guys. And I'm going to put the seal on a dimensional so he pops up. Okay, and I think I'm going to sponge around the outside of the circle just to give it some dimension. So let me pull out my sponge daubers and Pool Party ink, which is way up here. And Pool Party is this one right here. Okay. So let's just give a bit of a light sponge around the circle. Just gives it a bit of definition so it doesn't sort of look lost. There we go. I'll put that sponge dauber away a little bit later. Okay, so we can start building up. Let me get out a dimensional for our little seal. Okay. So this is going to go on the front of the card like this. This band is going to come down like this. And we're only going to glue it to this part of the card, okay? You're not going to glue it to the center panel, otherwise you won't be able to open up the card. So I know that this is going to go like that. Okay, so let's add a bit of glue. Now this is a brand new bottle of Tombow, so I'm sure it will come out really well. So let's put that on like that. Okay, and then I'm going to glue on our little tiny piece of sea ice, which, as we all know, is shrinking. And then we'll pop him onto the sea ice. And there he goes. Okay. Now, I'm going to pull out a little bit of Wink of Stella. I'll pull it out, but I won't do it yet. Okay, so we're going to glue this on now. So this is going to go like this onto the card. It goes edge to right to the edge. Okay, you can decide how, you know, how high or low you want it. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over, so you want to make sure you don't get glue past this line. So I'm just going to turn it over as I apply my glue so I can tell where I should be gluing. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue here, like so. I'm going to go right to the edge. And just hold that down for a couple of seconds. I might as well leave my glue out. I need that again. And then the other side, you're going to lift it up, and this is going to be glued again right to the edge. Now I want to fold my card. Okay, I'm going to glue it like that. Now, my cardstock goes over a teeny weeny bit, but I'm going to glue it down and then I can trim it afterwards. Okay, so glue can go on this whole small piece here. So I'm just going to turn it over. And then bring it back over. And I'm going to fold the card. Okay. That way you can ensure that you're gluing it into the right spot and that your card folds well. Okay. Now another option is that you could put DSP on this piece and then put your greeting here so that you can see it from the front of the card, or you can hide your greeting underneath here. Another option is if you wanted to put another piece of designer series paper on this inside panel so it's not so plain looking. Those are all different options that you can do. Okay, so I'm going to just take out my paper snips here. And I'm going to trim, and I always trim from behind. Okay, so I'm just going to open that up and then give this a little trim here. Get rid of that little excess piece. Okay, And then I'm going to do a little bit of Wink of Stella on here. We'll put a bit of Wink of Stella on the ice because I'm sure it's pretty sparkly. And then we'll do some Wink of Stella on this little guy because he's just jumped out of the water. So he's a little bit wet. Okay. Isn't he the cutest little thing? Okay, and there's your card. Not difficult at all, as long as you have your scoring positions. So here I had added a few little extra snowballs on here using those fabulous triangle die cuts. I bought those recently because there's so much you can do with those. And then this is a little penguin on a skateboard, I guess. And then we have this card here. Isn't that sweet? I could do some more snowballs on here, put something on here. I could even put another little seal or whatever. But anyway, you get the idea, and you can decorate it as much or as little as you want. So I hope you enjoyed this Friday's Fun Fold. This is the last, like I said, for the year, and I will be back in January. So thank you so much for watching. I'd love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And once you go and visit my blog post to get all of the cutting and scoring measurements, then you can also subscribe to my blog if you'd like to receive updates from me. So thanks again, everyone, and have a super, super holiday season. And Happy New Year. And let's hope it's a much happier new year next year. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.